Om. 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 Sadashiv-samārambhām Shankaraचार्य-madhyamām Asmadācārya-paryantām Vande Guru-paraṁparām. Vasudeva-sutam devam Kansa-chanūramardanam Devaki-paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Hari Om. And then we'll say always the seventh shloka of second chapter, which is Arjun's Prarthana, which is our Prarthana too. And whenever I say, when we say, we should assume that Bhagavan is standing and right in front of us. He is available all the time. It's just a call we are making to Bhagavan, as Arjun made. And then one Prarthana, the entire Bhagavad Gita is answer to that one Prarthana. So if we can say that Prarthana with any Prarthana, but this is related to Bhagavad Gita, then answer comes. But how convincingly I am doing that Prarthana. That's so. Look at Arjun's conviction here. Right? Karpanya dosho upahat svabhavah prachami tvam dharma sammud chetah yat shreyasyat nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyaste aham shadhimam tvam prapannam. So Arjun is accepting firstly, I have a problem, I'm confused, I'm deluded, and I come to you with that surrender. Shishyaste aham shadhimam tvam. Shishya means the person who is humble. The qualification of Shishya is humble, humility. And says, I am just surrendering to you. Now the teaching will flow. And that's what, this is the seventh shloka of second chapter. And the entire Bhagavad Gita is answer to one prayer. And so we also can make the same prayer, and then Bhagavan will guide us, which Bhagavan is doing anyways in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So with that, we'll end like we are getting into the second part of the Bhagavad Gita. So second part in the sense is not, we cannot just say that Bhagavan divided, but our acharyas have come up with that logic. So and it is very logical from first chapter to fifth chapter. First chapter was Arjun's Vishad, very simple. He was depressed, despondent. Second chapter is Gyan Yoga, where Bhagavan told Arjun who we are, that Atma Gyan. So the answer is, who am I? And that's what Bhagavan gave in second chapter. Second chapter is telling identity of Arjun, which we all looking for, our identity. Third chapter, third, fourth, fifth talks about the duty. What is my duty? So what is my duty is part of who am I. When I say who am I am identified. Then what is next? My dharma, my swadharma. So third, fourth, fifth are about karma, basically swadharma. And everybody has a swadharma to do. While performing swadharma, karma happens. That is the sequence. A lot of people say, oh, I am a karma yogi. you just know your swadharma and do it. That's it. Karma yoga is a byproduct. Nobody can be karma yogi. You understand your swadharma. First, you know yourself, Atma Gyan, second chapter, third, fourth, fifth, about karma, swadharma, my duty. And the sixth, and we did 14th chapter also, because that's one of my favorite. I brought it early. 6th and 14 are only two chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, which Bhagavan tells the technique. None all other chapter Bhagavan is talking about the Gyan, he's giving the instructions, answering Arjun's questions. But in 6th and 14th, Bhagavan is giving the technique. Because we have to be qualified. I know my identity, I know my swadharma, but how do I complete it? I need to be qualified. So 6th chapter is, last time we saw that Atma Sanyam or Dhyan Yoga. And Dhyan means, modern term, it is meditation. And that's what Bhagavan taught Arjun. Look at that. At the battlefield, Yuddha Kshetra, he's saying, Arjun, do Dhyan. And he's saying to a warrior who is going to shoot the arrows, now he said, do Dhyan. In Dhyan, when arrow is shot, then arrow is not a violence. It is swadharma. That's why Dhyan is very important. So meditation is very important, Dhyan. But here Bhagavan is not doing Dhyan. That statement is invalid. We don't do Dhyan. We create a situation where we are in Dhyan. That is called sadhana. So do sadhana, Dhyan will happen. And then Bhagavan told the technique, and I'm sure all of everybody should not do meditation. I don't use that word. Everybody should prepare or practice meditation. And meditation happens. Everybody should do that, whatever way. But Bhagavad Gita tells very clearly. Last time we went over that. So, and I have a document, if you want, I can share. But that is very important to sync this teaching. We can hear all those things, but how that teaching will become my part, we call it nididhyasan in Vedantic term. Nididhyasan means it become part of my character. That is dhyan. That is the dhyan actually. So that's what 6th chapter. And 14th chapter we saw Bhagavan said that Sattvagun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. We all have 3 gun. We are made of Prakriti. We saw that chapter. Wonderful chapter. But Bhagavan says that work on Sattvagun. We need Rajogun, Tamogun. We are born of Prakriti. I need to sleep. I need to do actions. But if it is driven by Sattvagun, then I'm going to raise spiritually and become a better person, better performer, we can say, in life. So Sattvagun, the goal is to work on Sattvagun. And how do we Sattvagun? Very simple. The technique given in the 14th chapter. Like sadhana, vrat, upvas, all these things, our ancestors, our rishis, they brought these things, very simple things. Navratri, we did Navratri. The purpose was to raise Sattvagun. Vrat is not the goal. Automatic it happens. That's why doctors say, if you're sick, they say, go for a morning walk. There is nothing happening in morning walk. There is no medicine lying from the sky. Just go for a morning walk and you will feel good. Sattvagun is like that. So just work on Sattvagun, automatic the character will change from inside. And then we are qualified for performing the Swadharma, qualified for the Atmagyan. So isliye 14th chapter is very important. So we saw that, right? So 2nd chapter, who am I? And then my Swadharma, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 14th is sadhana. So who am I? What is my sadhana and what is my sadhana? That's very simple. So wonderfully given in Bhagavad Gita. So the first part is Bhagavad Gita is 1 to 6 chapter is about who am I. Now 2nd chapter, the whole scene is going to change. Like movies, sometimes we see that after the some maybe 3 hour movie, after 1.5 hour the movie, whole things will change, right? Or some new characters will come into movie. And now from so far Bhagavan never talked up to that part about Bhagavan himself. Now 7th chapter, 7th, 8th, 9th we'll cover today. Whatever limited time we have, but we'll cover all. That is all about Bhagavan. So who am I? Now who is Bhagavan? The next question is, who is Bhagavan? So 7th, 8th, 9th, all the doubts a lot of people have Bhagavan hai, like some people say there is a God or not, and there are atheists and agnostics and believers, non-believers, everything. If we read these 3 chapters, everything is clear, everything. And 10th, 11th also, we'll see that. But today is 7, 8, 9. So 7th chapter is Gyan Vigyan Yoga. So we'll read selected shloka. I mean, because we have limited time. So I'll go through selected shloka. But before we go into 7th chapter, one very fundamental teaching or Sanatan Dharma teaching, which is Hindu teaching, we say that. It is that there is a rule called Karya Karan Siddhant, which is cause and effect, which is accepted in modern world also. We call it Karya Karan, Karya, and cause and effect. So there is always a cause and there is an effect. And our principle of whole, we say, there a lot of people ask question when I go to interfaith meetings also, because Abrahamic faith has a very, I won't say whatever, we don't want to analyze, but they have, oh, this is it, that's it. So they see that we can't see God, it is there. So they ask me, like, what about your concept of God? And I say this question is wrong. We don't have a concept of God. It is a reality. For us, God is not a concept. Concept is an idea, which is imagination. For us, God is not imagination. Bhagavan is reality. So that is the first thing in Sanatan Dharma is Bhagavan is reality. And that's what we are going to see in these 3 chapters. So there is a principle, as I said, Karya Karan. There is a cause, there is an effect. But typically in Karya Karan, there is a cause and there is effect. And here's an example given in our Shastra. Is the somebody, a potter makes, or painter makes a painting. So painter has paint, the material, brush and everything, and painter himself. And then he creates a painting. So there are two things. We call it Upadan Karan and Nimitta Karan. But material cause and efficient cause. So the painter is the efficient cause, the intelligent cause, and the paint or paint brush and everything is the material. So yeah, you need a material, you need a person to create something. It's very simple. But in this case, our Shastra gives an example of, in our case, and like, for example, a lot of people have argument. It's very standard. Oh, how do I know Bhagwan is there? Nobody has seen Bhagwan. Yeah. So Guruji says, okay. So he was giving, young man giving argument to Guruji, but even Guruji, you have not seen Bhagwan. So Guruji said, do you have father? He said, yes. Do you have grandfather? He says, yes. Do you have great grandfather or great grandparents? Yes. Do you have great great grandparents? Yes. Have you seen them? No, I have not seen them. So Guruji said, but I can prove that they are there. He said, how, I have not seen my great great grandparents. I know, but how do you prove? I said, I can prove right now. He said, just prove it. He said, you are the proof. You are standing, that's the proof that you have great grandparents. You have not seen them. Same principle applies to Bhagwan. Not necessarily, you will reach to there, you can see yourself, but don't give that argument because nobody has seen Bhagwan is there or not. It's like that. So same thing, so the example given in our Shastra is uh, a spider. So in our case, there is no separate creator and there is no separate creation. It's not that Bhagwan is here and this whole Prithvi is here or universe. No. It's like example is given of spider. Urnanabhi. Spider is called Urnanabhi. Urnanabhi srajate grahyate cha. Spider creates a web from within herself. And we know that from the Nabi now, from the belly button, is spider. And when a spider is done, a spider takes the whole web inside itself. And we saw the Spider-Man movie, the same thing. The Spider-Man movie is based on that principle. And this Bhagwan is like that. So Bhagwan, from within Bhagwan, so Bhagwan is not a different, it's not a cause and effect. Bhagwan is the cause, Bhagwan is the entire world is the effect. That's why we say Sab Kuch Bhagwan. Everything is Bhagwan because there's no separation between a cause and effect. Yes, Bhagwan is like a simple example of spider. So that's the principle we have to keep in mind. That's a very fundamental Hindu teaching. When we read these chapters, this is the logic behind that. Bhagwan is no separate identity somewhere sitting and doing things. So with that, we have to remember that Karakaran. And the example is given about there was ocean, there are waves, and there are some waves are big waves, some waves are small wave. So the little wave was very fearful, and then the big wave. What happened? You're always fearful. He said, I have a fear that the big waves will kill me. Look at now, the ocean waves are there, and the little wave. So the big wave says that, hold on. First of all, you need to understand that I am also wave temporary. Every wave is temporary. Every wave has to go and come back. And again, you come back, right? Go and come back. Everything is. And even the ocean is temporary. And what is permanent? And they say permanent is water. Everything is temporary. Permanent is water. Water creates ocean. Ocean creates waves. So similarly, they say that that's what our principle is, that Atma is permanent. This body is temporary. So then that's the whole Atma Gyan, that the waves understood, oh, I am also water. Ocean is also water. The big wave is also water. The small wave, everything is water. That water is Paramatma and water is Atma. And Paramatma and Atma is same. That is our, if we have to summarize our entire teaching, we call it Tat Tvam Asi. It's a very famous Mahavakya. Tat Tvam Asi. Tvam means you, the little wave. Tat means the water, not other waves. Water. Tvam Asi. Asi means if you can put the equation, Tat Tvam in the equal to sign, not equivalent. There is a different mathematics. Equivalent means if I lose a bag in the airport and I go say, I lost my bag, or say, oh, sorry, sir, we lost you. We can give you equivalent bag because it is lost now. They give us equivalent bag. Whatever you had, we can give equivalent. There is a difference between a nice equal and equivalent. And I need the same thing, which, so here in this case, it is not equivalent. Bhagwan, Paramatma and Atma are equal, not equivalent. They are same. But we have to reach that state. And that's what. So if once we understand, that is it, right? Tattvamasi. So with that, we have to keep that in mind, and we'll read the 7th, 8th, 9th chapter. So that's a fundamental teaching, right? Cause and effect. There is a whole big discussion around that, but some other time when we have more time. Now we are limited. Otherwise, what happens? People keep arguing, have you seen Bhagwan or not, or Bhagwan is there or not? What if even if you read Bhagavad Gita, this is called illogical, infinite regress. Oh, like if the chicken has come first or egg, the old problem. Nobody, humanity has not solved that problem because that's not a problem at all. It's a useless, illogical, infinite regress that chicken has come or egg first come, chicken or egg. So don't waste your time in that, right? Realization. So you do something that you will realize and will move forward very quickly. Swami Vivekananda, what inquisitive young man, he used to go to a lot of ashrams and when he was studying that to know Bhagwan. And he kept many places. Bharat was rich in spirituality that time. Nobody could a proper answer to. He was not satisfied. Then he went, somebody said, go to Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He's not a literate person, but you can try him. He was illiterate, Ramakrishna Paramahansa. So he went there and he just asked him very inquisitively, young man, do you know God is there or not? And Ramakrishna Paramahansa, all other scholars must have said logic, oh, we'll prove that, sit here, this thing, that thing. Ramakrishna Paramahansa said, do you forget about me? Do you want to know? If you want to know, I'll show you. And Vivekananda has written something that nobody has so convincingly gave me that, and I became a shishya right there. And then of course, he had vision of Durgaji and all. But that's what. So that desire, that inquisitiveness, and that is because of Sattvagun. We go back to that. Dhyan. So 6th and 14th chapter prepares us for a qualification where we'll realize that Tattvamasi. Otherwise, we'll be sansari like that. We are human being, we'll have suffering, we have pain and pleasure, and wo sansar chalta rahe. Like we'll end, one day end will come. But we have to come out of that. So that's what the whole teaching is. That's what we are doing Bhagavad Gita. That's what we are doing Swadhyaya. So with that, we'll go to 7th chapter. We have to cover 3 chapters, and let's see how much we will. I have selected shlok, but we will cover all those here. So Shri Paramatmane Namah At Saptamo Adhyayah. So the first two Bhagwan is like it's continuation from 6th chapter. The 7th chapter Bhagwan is saying कि I'll tell you some which is very secret, and the second shlok it says कि I'll tell you the secret. So, but Arjun, Bhagwan is giving a warning here. Bhagwan is a very good teacher, and he doesn't want to do half job. So he said, I'll give you the secret, but so we'll read the 3rd shlok. First or second shlok, he is saying that whoever comes to me with Shraddha as you have come, I'll give you the secret. I'll tell you what you're asking for. But 3rd shlok, he gives a warning. 3rd shlok of 7th chapter. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschinmam vetti tattvataha. And Bhagwan is saying that thousands of people try, and out of thousand, some thousand of people wants to know me. Sahastra Manushanam Sahastreshu Kashchit Yatati Siddhe. And out of those thousand, few people do Siddhi. Yatati means yatna, do the prayas, do the sadhana. And out of those sadhana people, we call it, when sadhana is matured, we become siddha. There are two popular terms in our Shastra, right? Sadhana, sadhak, and siddh. The person who is practicing, who's in the journey, is called sadhak. The one you reach to the destination, you become siddh. That's why we say if you do a Surya Namaskar or any asana for these many yoga people say that these many times this asana becomes siddh, means you become perfect in that asana. But that's asana. So same thing. So Bhagavan says even though siddh purush, thousands are practicing, out of thousand, few get one out of those thousand siddha parsha knows me, kashtina vetti tattva, vetti tattvataha. And tattvataha is a very Bhagwan Sri Krishna loves that word. He has used it many times in Bhagavad Gita. Tattvata means knowing by essence. Tattva means essence. So knowing things in essence. One person in thousands, and thousands siddh even they siddh, a Gayatri Jap or whatever mala, 108, 1008 or whatever Tirth Yatra, every people do that, right? And they are good people. I mean, I think like that. Sattvagun is reached to that state, but you have to go beyond Sattvagun. It is Gunatit Bhava, Arjun Bhagavan says. And that is one in millions. That person is comes to me. That's what Bhagavan is saying. Yeah, so we'll have to skip few more slow. So now as we talked about, now Bhagavan is going to tell who is Bhagavan it in this few shlok. So fourth shlok of this chapter, seventh chapter, Bhagavan says, Bhumirapo analo vayu kham mano buddhireva cha ahankaram iti yam me itayam me bhinna prakriti ashtadha. So Bhagavan is saying, this is a very simple principle of physics also. He's saying five things: Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash, Panchtattva. We all know that, right? So Prithvi is the grossest, then Jal, little subtler than Prithvi, then Vayu, then Agni. Agni is subtler than Jal. We can touch Prithvi, we can smell Prithvi, we can see Prithvi. But Jal, we can touch Jal, we can taste Jal, we cannot. And then Agni, we can see Agni, but we cannot eat Agni, we cannot touch Agni, we cannot smell. And then Vayu. Vayu we cannot see, we cannot touch, but we feel Vayu. That's why when we do Dhyan, the step is going from Panchatattva to Sakshi. And then Akash. Space, we cannot see space, we cannot touch space, we cannot feel space, but we know there is a space because sound travels in space. And Bhagavan said, and then Man, Buddhi, Ahankar. So these are material, five elements. And then Man is our mind, Buddhi means the intellect, and Chitta. Chitta means the memory stuff, and Ahankar. So Bhagavan, Man, Buddhi, Ahankar. Chitta is part of Man, Buddhi. So there are Ashtadha, 8 types of, that is my Prakriti. Bhagavan is saying that is my lower nature. So now look at that. Everything is Bhagavan. All these 5 elements are Bhagavan. My body is part of 5 elements because we are made of Panchatattva. That's why when we, in our case, when the body goes, we say it's gone to Panchatattva. And Bhagavan says, your Man, Buddhi is me too. That Ahankar, that ego, will come to that later on. But that is also me, reflection of mine. So that is my lower nature, Apara Prakriti. And Bhagavan, so now he is describing himself, Bhagavan. So this chapter is about Bhagavan. And how it is like, so 7th shlok mein he says, Matta partaram na anyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre mani gana eva. He is saying the entire world, 7th shlok, right? Entire world, everything in this world is attached to me, like the word he has used, sutre mani gana. Mani means the beads, or we can say flowers, and sutra means the thread. Like if there is a garland or there is a bead, right, mala, all the beads are together because of that one thread which is invisible, but it is there. That's why the whole mala is there. And Bhagavan said that invisible thread is me. There is everything. Look at that. Today is Sharad Purnima, we see that. Who is making that whole moon today, the full bright Purnima? We can't do that, human being. We just cannot. We can try to send satellite. Who's making the stars and everything in the morning, in the evening? Everything is working so fine. Who's doing that? There is a sutra, that is Paramatma. Everything, we don't see Paramatma because there is a thread behind. That's what Manigana Sutra. जैसे माला का सूत्र होता है, that is me. Because of me, the whole mala is, that's because of Bhagwan, the whole universe is together. We call it ecosystem or what various names science gives, but there is some power which is, we say, Paramatma. So that's what Bhagwan says. So we are all seeing Bhagwan's nature now. In fact, the whole Isha Vasya Upanishad, there are 20 mantras. Wonderfully, what a description of Bhagwan. Isha Vasyam idam sarvam jagatyam jagat tena chaktena bhunjita. The entire that which is coming from Yajurved, but the whole 20 shlok is all about Bhagwan. What is Bhagwan? Same thing Bhagwan is saying. There are a lot of shlokas. We'll have to skip because in the interest of time. So yeah, we want to continue as much as possible. But that's what its 7th chapter Bhagwan describes. His apara prakriti. Apara means lower, and para prakriti. Para we'll see as we move forward. But lower is like Ashtadha, 8 types. 5 elements, man, buddhi, hankar. That is Bhagwan's apara prakriti. So look at that. We are all Bhagwan in that sense. It is all Bhagwan's ansh. In various descriptions are there. So we'll move forward with. So this 7th chapter is called Gyan Vigyan Yoga. Why it is called Gyan Vigyan Yoga? Because knowing that Bhagwan is the cause of everything, which we have described, is Gyan. Knowing that Bhagwan, everything is created, Bhagwan is the cause. As we saw the example of the great-grandfather or the painter create the painting. It is Gyan. That's a knowledge, right? That everything is Bhagwan. But this chapter is called Vigyan Vigyan. And knowing that Bhagwan has super consciousness or awareness, we call it Bhagwan. And again, now this whole teaching is about going from Sagun to Nirgun. Krishna, we should not be stuck to Krishna Murti. Krishna ki Murti is a medium to reach to Krishna. There is no Murti Krishna. Murti is a depiction of Krishna. Murti is not Krishna. We have to be very clear. Through Murti we see the Krishna. Murti is the Madhyama. Murti is gone. And typically when we go to Mandir, we all, like, if you go to say Badrinath with all the effort, or Vaishno Devi or Tirupati Balaji with all the effort, and the moment you go there, first thing happens, our eyes are closed. Are you there? You went there for darshan, the moment you say Bhagavan, eyes are closed. Who's doing that? That Shraddha. That you and Bhagavan become one. So Murti is gone. It's just Bhagavan and you, Bhagavan. That is what Bhagavan is saying here. And that is what the whole purpose of. So Bhagavan is not talking about Krishna himself. He's talking about the Satta Paramatma. Krishna is a medium to reach Paramatma. So that's what we need to keep in mind, right? So that is Vigyan. Knowing Bhagavan is that awareness which is me also. That is Vigyan. Bhagavan is everything, is Gyan. So that's what this chapter is called, Gyan Vigyan. It's as simple. So we'll move to the 8th chapter, right? Which is Akshar Brahma Yoga, right? And we'll see a few more shlokas. You can read these chapters later on, but I'm doing selected shlokas in the interest of time. But very, very interesting. I mean, we can, in separate session, we can spend half an hour, 1 hour on one shlok each. There's such powerful teaching is there. But anyway, we'll have to move. So after listening all that, Bhagwan's material apara prakriti, lower nature, and then little higher. So Arjun has question now. And Arjun says that the first shlok of the 8th chapter, Arjuna uvacha, kim tad brahma, kim vid adhyatmam, kim purush, kim karma purushottama, adhibhutam cha kim proktam, adhidevam kim uchyate. So he has asked 6 questions, basically 7 questions. Second chapter also, second shlok also his question continues. Adhiyagya katham kotra dehe asmin madhusudana prayana kale ch katham geyo asine atmabhi. So he's asked 7 questions. So what we'll do, we'll take only, in the interest of time, we'll take 3 questions, which I see more relevant. But you can read other later on or some other time we'll do that. So first question is, Kim Brahma? What is Brahman? Yeah, now he's saying, just आपने बता दिया है, but I want to know what is Brahman, which is very standard question for all of us, right? And then he says, Kim Adhyatma? What is Adhyatma? What we are doing is Adhyatma. The purpose of doing this is Adhyatma, right? We call it Adhyatmik, right? And then Kim Karma. So Karma Bhagwan is already explained in 3rd chapter. So we will not go to that. But Kim Brahma and Kim Adhyat. 2 questions Arjuna asked. And the second question he has asked in the 2nd shlok is the 7th question, but we'll take that. He said, Prayana Kale Chakatham Geyo Asi. How can I remember you when I am leaving this body? Prayana Kale means Anta Samay, the last days of my life. What a wonderful question. Like he's asking now, which is relevant to all of us, right? What will happen? Can I remember you at the time of departure? That's a question we all have, right? So Arjun has asked this, but we'll see Bhagwan's answer. So first, Kim Brahm. So Bhagavan says that if you read shlok number 3, Bhagavan answers. Bhagavan says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, shlok number 3, 8th chapter. Aksharam param brahma paramam svabhavo adhyatma uchyate bhuva bhavo bhavatkaro visarga karma sangita. So we'll take two, what is Brahm and what is Adhyatma. So Bhagavan is saying very simple. Aksharam Brahma, the one which is Akshara means perishable, worth decaying. The one who, there is a parabhasha, Ksharati means which decays, which diminishes, or which is likely to be destroyed, or which has an expiration date. That is Kshar. Akshar means which cannot be destroyed, which cannot be broken into pieces, which is imperishable. And Bhagavan says, anything in this world you see imperishable, that is Brahman. Now we have to see that only thing imperishable in this Brahman is that Atma within me. Because everything is perishable, even the stars are perishable. Even the sun, they say that sometimes sun will go away. But the Manigana, the Sutra is imperishable. There'll be, if you go to Disney World or NASA, there are shows, like we see 3D shows in the hall, they see, or Florida or Houston, and they show that there are many galaxies like this, and the galaxies are creating out of galaxies, and they show all that who knows who's doing that? There's something is doing, and that is called the Paramatma, invisible, imperishable, Akshar Brahma. So Bhagavan says that Brahma word is like, which is ever expanding. The Brahm is a Sanskrit word, which is ever expanding, or the powerful, most powerful, or the highest we can say. And Bhagavan is saying that imperishable is Brahman. And if we look at within us, all of us, that awareness within us, and a very simple example, we'll move forward because we have limited time. I have gone through few times because of a couple of treatment. They gave me anesthesia. And I was talking to my doctor. And I did the experiment myself because I read this before, but first time when I got anesthesia for my cataract surgery, I asked the anesthetist, he was my friend. He said, I'm going to go into that twilight, right? They gave full anesthesia. But I want to just see that I have heard this, right? So I was talking to him and I was telling him a joke. And I knew that before the joke over, I'm going to go into sedation. And it happened. I didn't know what time. When I woke up after like half an hour when surgery was done, I continued that joke. And same anesthesia. And I told him, he said, yeah, that happens. Who's holding that continuity? I was just sleeping because I was in sedation. Anesthesia was given. And that is what that awareness is. That's why we say deep sleep. Deep sleep, the same thing happens, right? We all know deep sleep is few hours in the night. There is no dream, nothing happens. Everything is sleeping, but something is awake which makes you awake in the morning or after deep sleep. That is called awareness. But that is all the sleeping mode, like anesthesia or deep sleep. In dhyan, that's the purpose of dhyan. The dhyan, final stage of dhyan is I'm completely aware that I am, and we saw that last time, when we shut down all the senses, Panchatattva dhyan, then I become that Sakshi which can observe the mind also. Because mind is nothing but flow of thoughts. But all the thoughts are gone. That time only thing happens is that awareness. And that awareness is me or Paramatma, the Atma or Paramatma. And that awareness is the only thing which is permanent. And that is Akshar Brahma. So Bhagavan says, anything is Akshar is Brahman. So within us, there is one thing, my awareness is always there. Even if I am, and that's the whole sadhana, we put the layers of ahankar on awareness. We all are awareness. There was a statement very famous by Swami Vivekananda. The definition of yoga is wonderful. Everybody is potentially divine. The word potential, we know that those who go to engineering also, potential means power is within this particular you. There is no outside power. From within it will come. And that is awareness, which is always there. But we put layer of ahankar and all those Raga, Dvesh, and Shadripu, Kam, Krodh, Madlu, all the layers we have put on awareness. But otherwise, if you remove all those, Sattvagun, that light comes out from within. And that is awareness. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. That is Brahman, Akshar. And the next karma we already talked about, Bhagavan has described, Adhyatma, which is closer to us. So Adhyatma means the word is Adhi Atma. Atma is within, you can say. Adi means within. Atma is the sense or the essence. So my core, inner essence is Adhyatma. In simple, in English, this is called spirituality. We know that this word is very famous in Western world, spirituality. And the whole word spirit has come from Latin word, which is a life force. Spiritus is a Latin word which says life force or breathing force. And that's why they came up with the word spirituality means which gives the life. But they stopped there because the Abrahamic tradition doesn't allow you go beyond that. In fact, some of their people who were inclined towards the Sanatan Dharma teaching, there is a statement, I forgot the name of that person. He says that we are not human being having spiritual experience. We are the spiritual being. I think Mark Twain said that we are a spiritual being having human experience. We are not human beings having spiritual experiences. We are spiritual beings having human experiences. That's what our Vedanta Shastra says, right? You are that awareness. Only thing you got this body because of law of karma and all those things. And but we think, oh, I'm this body. No, we are not. You're not that body. You're that awareness. Chaitanya Atma. And that's what that is Adhyatma. Knowing myself as that awareness, not this body. That is Adhyatma. And we call it spirituality. That's what they say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Religious means all these rituals and all those things. We don't deny rituals. In our Shastra, we say, that's why we have mandir, we have puja. Yeah, we have, but there is a goal of that spiritual. To remove those layers and then reveal that awareness. Don't stick with the rituals. But now we are stuck with ritual. Right? Ritual, the whole life goes into rituals. Yeah, that's what Bhagavan is saying. So yeah, with that we have to skip a few more things. Okay. So now Bhagavan gives, the next question was, how at the end of the life I'll remember you? It's a very pertinent question. Valid for all of us. Like how there is a bhajan, very famous bhajan. We sing that Anup Jalota's bhajan. It plays all in the mandir. Radhe ko saath lana jab prana tan se nikle. Right? Even when I am leaving, just Radhe means it's not Radha, but it's like Shakti. Bhagwan, give me darshan. Many bhajans are there. That at the end of the life, when I am leaving, what is Rishi going to say? What Bhagwan is, Arjun is asking, and what Bhagwan is going to answer. And he answers in the 8th. We'll just read one shlok because, so 8th shlok of 8th chapter, he's going to answer that. There's a big answer, but just let's one shlok, right? And Bhagwan says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagaminah paramam purusham divyam yati parth anuchintayan. And Bhagwan is saying, hey Parth, it is possible. How I'll come to your mind or your awareness when you're leaving the body. He says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena nanya chetasa anuchintayan paramam divyam purusham yati. He's saying Abhyasa yoga. Abhyas is practice, practice, practice. Now, practice is not breaking the stone. Practice is sitting quiet. Sattvagun. Rajogun and Tamogun will make us, Rajogun will make us do a lot of things. Like, I'll keep working. There are in our mandir or ashram or you say there are some karyakartas, they are busy all the time in mandir or spiritual, but they like to do it, right? They don't care about what is happening outside, but they keep working. Rajogun, we all do that, right? Workaholic we become. Even towards spiritual sadhana, we become workaholic. I had to do 188,000 jap. I had to do Akhand Ramayana 4 times a year, or I had to do like some 10 times Bhagavad. I had to do this year. That's all Rajogun. If I am not raising above that, those are required. But I cannot say that I like a primary school teacher, so I don't want to leave the primary school. Teacher is so good. All kids love the teacher. I don't want to go to middle school. And sometimes kids say that my primary school teacher is so good. No, you have to go to middle school. You have to leave the middle school, go to high school. You have to go to college. You have to graduate, right? That is called graduation. In Adhyatmic Yatra, we have to graduate, right? All these puja and rituals are meant for, but not for counting. But Rajogun keeps us in that loop. So we have to rise above it. Rajogun is required for a purpose and then rise above that. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. Abhyasa yogena nanya gamina chetasa. It's not a wavering consciousness. It's a fixed chit. That's why our whole Patanjali, Rishi Patanjali's definition is Chittivritti Nirodh. That's what Bhagavan is saying here. Your chitta should be fixed. Patanjali is saying the starting of that, the whole purpose of all this Ashtanga Yoga is not doing Surya Namaskar or Shirsasana all the time. It is there to make sure your chitta is stable, not the asana body. If we do more asana and more focus on body, then we'll always be body focused. It is all contradictory to our teaching. The teaching is to move away from the body. That body identification is the problem. That is ahankar. Oh, I have a lot of, I can do pranayam for half an hour. That's not the goal. The goal is to just rise above the pranayam. That's what Bhagavan is saying. And then he says, anuchintayan. Constantly do the chintan. Bhagavan ka jap. And best chintan, it will see in the one of the chapter, it will come. Bhagavan says that yajnanam jap yagyo asmi. The best yajna is jap yajna. And we'll see when we come to that. But today, just I touch this. So now we go to, so 8th chapter is Bhagavan is talking about Akshar Brahm, and then Adhyatmika. And then 9th chapter, we will have to move a little faster because of the time. But so 9th chapter is called Raj Vidya, Raj Yoga. So these 3 chapters are together, 7, 8, 9. So 9th chapter we'll see few shlok. So second shlok, again Bhagavan is saying, Raj Vidya, second shlok of 9th chapter. Raj Vidya Rajguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshawagamam Dharmam Susukham Kartavya Avyayam. Bhagavan is saying, I am going to give you the secret teaching. And look at that. He's at this one time he's saying secret and he's saying Susukham Kartavam. It's very easy to do. Susukham is very easy, like we say Sukhasanam. And he says, Kartavya, it's very easy to do, Arjun. But the thing is that, are you qualified? That is required. If you're qualified, it's very easy. If I am qualified, I get whatever SAT or ACT score, then I can get to any college because I'm qualified. Now it's my choice. But if it's not qualified, then it's very hard to go to any college. So that's what Bhagavan is saying, that it is very suzukham if we do that abhyas and the chit is constantly focused on one thing. So that's Bhagavan says. And now the 4th shlok. Yeah, so 4th shlok he is explaining, that's the Raj Vidya. That is the secret, right? 4th shlok. There are a lot of shlok, but I'm skipping some for purpose. He says, Maya tat idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtinam matasthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avasthitah. Bhagavan is saying, Gita is full of metaphors. Bhagavan is a very good teacher. He has a lot of metaphors. So he is giving the metaphor here like in the ice cube. It is ice cube, but the content is water. Every bit of ice cube is water. And that's what he's saying in this Sarva Bhutani Masthani. Like the ice, water is all over ice. Similarly, I am everywhere. Sarvani Bhutani Masthani. I am established in all the people, everything, like water in the ice cube. We just now we finished Navratri. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita. Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasya Namah. You are established in all of us in the form of Shakti. Every cell of mine is that Shakti. Every cell. And that's why it's Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. Namastasya Namastasya Namas. That's why I do bow down. So Shakti is every cell. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. And that is the secret. And that is actually the Raj Vidya, means the secret knowledge, right? So there is now we'll move forward what Bhagavan is doing. So there is a very, very famous shlok, which is 22nd shlok of 9th chapter. Very famous shlok. This is like in India, Life Insurance Corporation has used this shlok in their logo. Ananyaschintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Now he's saying, once you understand Gyan Vigyan, we saw 7th chapter, that who am I? Who is Bhagwan now? Who am I means you. Who is Bhagwan? 8th chapter, Bhagwan clarify that I am Akshar Brahm. Means we have to rise from Sagun to Nirgun. Sagun means, as again, simple as Murti, is Sagun. But Bhagwan is not just Murti. Bhagwan is beyond Murti. Murti is the medium. That is Nirgun, we say, Nirgun Nirakar Brahm. And once you understand Akshar Brahm, Bhagwan says, what I do that. That's my promise. This is promise. That's why Life Insurance Corporation has used this in their logo. Yogaksham Vahamyaham, it is written in Life Insurance Corporation's logo. This has come from this shlok. So Bhagwan is saying, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. If you are completely surrenderness is not giving up, like Arjun surrender, either Shraddha. If you have that, ye jana paripasate, and you pass with that, you do upasana. So Bhagavan is saying you do upasana, but upasana is not just doing, as I said, like constantly without knowing doing something, rajogun trigun upasana, not. And tesham nitya abhiyuktanam, those people who are constantly engaged in me, abhiyuktanam. Abhiyukta means, yukta means engaged. Yoga word has come from, yukta means engaged. When two things are clutched together, it is called yukt. And Bhagavan is saying, abhiyuktanam, when you're constantly engaged with me. And there is a shlok here, we are not going, we'll cover later on. And that shlok, Bhagavan is saying to Arjun, Ma anusmara yuddhascha. He's saying to Arjun, continue to do yuddha, keeping me in mind. What? So that's what he's telling us. Like we all can do the work, whatever responsibility. When swadharma is, when we do laundry, and there is a button called soak, right? So put the clothes when they're too dirty, and just put the water and put on soak. Then it soak for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you start the laundry. Then you will get the clean clothes. Exactly. That whole sadhana is soaking our consciousness, which has become so many layer and dirty because of all this sansar and all. That is called everyday sadhana. And that's what Bhagavan is saying. Nitya Bhyuktana Yoga Kshem Vahamyaham. Yoga means acquiring something. Kshem means protecting. Kshem means protecting. So Bhagavan says, I'll help you. He will not do that. Otherwise, Bhagavan would have finished the yuddha. He said, I'll tell you how to do. A lot of people get confused about this shlok. People think, oh, Bhagavan is Bhagavad Gita. Person who's read Bhagavad Gita thoroughly, that person will exactly understand Bhagavan is not going to do that. Bhagavan is, I'm going to help you, I'm going to make you understand how to do things. Yes, I don't know how people get it कि Bhagavan कर देगा. Bhagavan will guide you. That is true. Bhagavan will give you buddhi, but Bhagavan will not do on your behalf. Why he's telling 700 shlok to Arjun? He said, I'll use the Sudarshan Chakra and finish the war and go home. That's what he's not. So he's saying, Yoga Kshem Vahamyaham. I'll help you to acquire and I'll help you to protect it. Whatever. Now it is not saying sansaric thing. It's not talking about the material word. He's talking about that same, that we can say Atmagyan or mental strength, manobal, whatever we use various words. You acquire and then help you, you will continue. And what does it mean? Kshemam means whatever I learn. Our problem is that as a human being, I learn and I forget. We all know, simple example I always give with kids class and they get it. That we all know that we should not be angry or we should not be yelling. All know that. Everybody, Gita class. The moment Gita Mandir, I'm outside of Mandir, I observe sometimes. I standing there on parking lot, people are fighting. Somebody has parked wrong, or some husband wife fighting, or some parking is wrong, fighting, and volunteers are fighting, and the program is. The moment the puja is khatam, everybody is fighting. That weak we are. That's what one is Kshemam. I'll help you. You can retain that teaching. Unless we retain, there's no use. So that's wonderful. So we'll take one more shlok and then almost come to end. So 26 shlok, where Bhagavan is making it very simple. Bhagavan is always saying, do the sadhana, which is one other famous shlok, 26 of 9th chapter. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upas ashnami prayatatmanah. He's saying, you don't need big things, Arjun. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. You give me a leaf or a flower or little water. You may bhaktya prayachati. With that shraddha, with that bhakti, even if you offer a drop of water, that satisfied me. And Bhagavan said, Tadaham bhakti ashnami. I accept it with love. Prayatma, but you do that, right? And that's what, so that is that whole 9th chapter. We'll take one more shlok and we are almost close to our time. So we'll take one last shlok, right? Which is kind of a summary of all 3 chapters, 7, 8, 9. So again, 7 is Gyan Vigyan, everything is Bhagwan, and I am also saying Tattvamasi. That is 7 Gyan Vigyan. 8th, Bhagwan says Bhagwan is Akshar Brahma, which is anything imperishable, and the one thing in imperishable in this world is my own awareness. I have not seen Bhagwan, nobody has seen, but you can feel Bhagwan. And that awareness, when I am fully, like, that's why we say sit in dhyan, do practice of dhyan, not doing dhyan. And while 3 times a day, 4 times, 5 times a day, even Buddhist people, they 6 hours in meditation. Because in that meditation, in that state, you come to know who you are. And we say, oh, Tattvamasi, that is Aham Brahmasmi. And I am that, Bhagavan himself is like that. But we have to keep doing that. And that's what Bhagavan is saying. And that is actually Raj Vidya, and that is the secret. The biggest secret in the sense, it is not revealed to easily. But if you do it, Bhagavan says, Sasukham kartum avyayam. It is very easy, Arjun, if you are qualified. If you're qualified, you get the green card. If you're not qualified, you struggle in America. Right? Trump will send you to all other countries. You're illegal immigrant, right? You're not qualified in this country. So if you're qualified, you get it. So that's what Bhagavan is saying, right? So we'll see last slok, 34th slok. It's almost end up. So that summarizes all 3. We'll see 10th, 11th slok. Bhagavan is going to reveal his forms, but he is giving the principle of Bhagavan, we can say in simple terms. In these 3 chapters are a principle of Bhagavan, not the concept, the reality of Bhagavan, right? So 34th slok, which is the last slok of 9th chapter, Bhagavan says, man mana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam veshyasi yukteva atmanam matparayana. Bhagavan is saying, man mana means I am the only goal. In your mind, I am should be the only goal. I am not Krishna here, right? Bhagavan. Mad Bhakta. Bhakta, I mean, we'll see 12th chapter will come what is Bhakti. But Bhakta means whose full alignment with Bhagavan. That is Bhakt. Right? We'll see that the 12th chapter will talk more about Bhakti. Madhyaji Bhava. The action, all the yajan. Yaj means puja part. All your actions, even karma, should be towards me. I mean, that's why we say भगवान के लिए कर रहे हैं. हम बोलते सब हैं कि राम जी की मर्जी. हमारी मर्जी होती है, ऐसे ऊपर से बोल देते राम जी की मर्जी. अंदर से निकलना चाहिए राम जी की मर्जी. ये बोलने के लिए सब हम लोग ऐसे बोलते रहते हैं कि भगवान सब ठीक करेंगे. अरे ऐसा मन से बोलेंगे तो भगवान ठीक होगा, ऐसा लाइक दैट. सो भगवान इज सेइंग नमस्कुरु. नमस्कुरु मीन्स, या, नमस्कार इज द वर्ड. नमस्कार मीन्स अगेन surrendering, that humility basically, not surrender, humility. And then say mat parayan. And then he says, Atmanam yukta mam ev ishyasi. Yukta means again engage, eki bhav. So you come completely engage with Bhagwan, that person will reach me. So now you ask Arjun the question, how I am going to come to you at the last moment of your life? If you are constantly doing, then it will happen. But constantly, if you're doing transactions with Bhagwan also, then transaction hi aayegi aakhir mein. That's see that. And I have read a lot of, I do a lot of reading like that. So I had done a lot of nurses' journals, nurses' testimonials, the palliative nurses. And there is a website and all this. So they said they have shown the experiences of people, last moments of experiences. And they say various, like some people go very happily, some people are craving, some people are crying, some people. So it depends at whatever comes to your mind at the last moment, how you live your life. Otherwise, it will not happen. Last day, Radha ko saath, Radhe ko saath lo, we put bhajan. Somebody is in the palliative, put bhajan, bhajan. That is fine, but if that person has not done bhajan entire life, doesn't that bhajan is not going to do anything to that person last person. So we'll stop here. We had 2 more minutes, right? So very very quick anecdote, and we'll move. So there was this guy, businessman. All his life he is doing transaction, पैसा पैसा इधर का हिसाब उधर का हिसाब. So the last day comes, right, and that this person has all his family members around him. He had shop and everything, and he says, he looks at that, oh, where is the eldest son? Oh, he is here. Where is the young middle son? He's here. Where is the daughter-in-law? Is here. Everybody is here. And then his wife says, don't worry, everybody is here. No, that's the worry. Who is in the shop if everybody is here? That is going to happen at the last moment, because the whole life you're doing that business. And the Bhagavan is saying, if you, all life you do work for me, everything is Bhagavan, then it's bound to be there. And that's what the teaching is. So we have 2 minutes, we'll stop here. So one more anecdote. And so there was a speech thing, some program happening, a lot of big speakers are there, and everybody is giving a speech, and there was a clapping. People are a scholar and giving logic and philosophy and Sanskrit and big shlok, and people, a lot of clappings are there. One person came. He was a very ordinary speaker. He didn't know much about even Sanskrit, or also not translation, but he spoke. And then once he finished, it was very emotional speech about Bhagavad Gita. And there was no clapping. There was pin drop silence in the auditorium. So one of the organizer asked, the young organizer asked the senior organizer, what happened? This guy gave a speech, but there's no clapping. He spoke pretty well, looks like. He said, look, switch on the light and look in the auditorium. People are clearing or drying their tears, so they don't have their hands free to clap. That emotional speech. So somebody asked him that, how did you do that? So he said, then that's what person is, how did he do that? He said, all other people knew Sanskrit, all other people knew philosophy, karma yoga, gyan yoga, but this person knew Krishna. So he talked all about Krishna. That's why that speech was so powerful that people had tears in their eyes. They were wiping their tears. They forgot to even clap. So the purpose of this is, Bhagavan says, Rajvidya Rajguru, is not to get to the secret. Know the Krishna. Not the Bhagavad Gita is a medium. And even Krishna, his name is also a medium. But still, we have to go to Krishna. And that is the teaching. So we'll stop here with Kabir Das Ji's Doha. Kahin jane ki zarurat nahi hai. It is all here. That's what Bhagavan has said. And I'll translate in English. Jo tilli mein tel hai. Tilli means a sesame seed. It's a small seed. You cannot imagine, but there is a oil inside. Very powerful oil. It's a medicine. Jo tilli mein tel hai. Jo chakmag mein aag. Chakmag means a stone. If you rub the stone, there is a spark there. Otherwise, there is no spark. If you see, stone is just a stone. Jo chakmag mein aag. Tera sai तुझ में है तू जाग सके तो जाग. Your Bhagwan, that awareness is all within you. To जाग सके. If you can get awareness, you become aware. So जो तिल्ली में तेल है, जो चकमक में आग, तेरा साई तुझ में है, तू जाग सके तो जाग. You don't have to go anywhere. Bhagwan has said in this chapter. That's a secret. That is Raj Vidya. That is Raj Yoga. And then we finish 7, 8, 9. We'll continue next week with wonderful. 10th, 11th is Bhagwan is going to reveal himself. Anand, Vishwarup, we'll see that, right? 11th chapter, Vishwarup. That's the wonderful. So we'll end here. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Boli Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai Hari. So dhyan practice karte rahiye, and then if you need, I mean, I'm sure everybody is doing. If not, we have to do. There is no other way. There is no other way.
संजय भाई, आपने बोला था मेडिटेशन के ऊपर कुछ भेजेंगे आप भी
हाँ, I'm going to send that. Yeah. Meditation. वो मेरा पूरा इस सेम भगवद गीता based है. Anything you're doing, continue do. You can add if something is missing in that. But that's very wonderful. Panch Tattva to Akshar Brahma. Like that's what this chapter is about, right? That's it. There is nothing. Panch Tattva to Akshar Brahma is so easy. So yeah, so we'll see. Next week we'll meet with Bhagwan Sarup, right? Adbhut, 10th and 11th Vishwarup Darshan.
Yeah.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Very nice, beautiful.
Jai Om,
जय
Jai
श्री
Shri
कृष्ण
Ram.
जय श्री राम।
अभी बाहर जाके दर्शन कीजिएगा, भगवान ऊपर हैं.
देखा
बहुत सुंदर है, अपने तो घर के उधर ही आया है
Yeah,
संजय
I know. And he 10th chapter he'll say Shashi Asmi. I'm Chandrama in luminaries. चमकने वालों में चंद्रमा हूँ. भगवान will say that.
आज आपके अब मेरे घर के बीच में आया है
I
तो
know we'll see that. अभी जाएंगे बाहर, right? Okay, nice. Yeah. We'll see you
जय
next
श्री
week.
राम।
Hari Om, Jai Shri Ram.
थैंक यू।
Krishna.
जय श्री कृष्ण।
जय श्री कृष्ण. जय श्री कृष्ण रुचि रे.
कृष्णा।
जय श्री कृष्ण. अंकिता ठीक है बेटा? अनिका?
हाँ, सब ठीक है। आप कैसे हो?
या आई मेट, कल मिले थे आपके पेरेंट्स यार.
या
राम एंड बहन, राइट. या
ठीक है, बाय।
चलो बेटा, बाय, नमस्ते.